In this Java programming tutorial video, we're going to be looking at this program here to create a formatted receipt for a school snack bar, taking the user's input for the name of the school, the number of drinks, candies, hot dogs, and hamburgers they wish to order, and assembling it into a subtotal and total at the end of the receipt. So we're going to step through this program and see how it works, going through each line and looking at the techniques it utilizes to achieve its purpose stated up here. So this is our receipt for program, and yes, we're just going to go from the beginning here. We have our public class, of course, announcing the name of the file. We've got some imports above that. We're going to discuss what each of these mean when we get to them and when they're used. So we have the imports, we have the required class definition here, and the class name must be the same as the file name, as stated up here, receipt4.java. Then we have our main function here. We're passing it the string args here as normal. Everything is as usual with this function. And right away in the main function, we're setting up a decimal formatting object to truncate long decimals. Because in our receipt, we don't want the subtotal or the total to be a huge decimal with 10 or 15 points, for example. We just want to round it off or truncate it to 2 decimal points, which is how we have it set up here. So we're using the java.text.decimal format class. The import here is what we're importing. Then we're using it down here on line 17. We're creating a new decimal format. So we're instantiating a new decimal format object, and we're calling it df. So we have the syntax decimal format df equals new decimal format with the pattern 0.00, and this is telling us, or it's telling the function that we want to truncate the decimals to 2 points, or 2 numbers after the decimal point. As you can see, the 00, the hundredths place. So that's the pattern by which we want to use the decimal format. So then we're creating a new scanner, and what we're doing with the scanner is the purpose of that is to get user input. And in order for this to work, of course, we had to have the import up here, the Java util scanner import. And this right here, we're instantiating a new scanner object. We're calling it input. So we're saying scanner input equals new scanner, and we're giving it the traditional system.in argument. And this is basically the same argument you're going to want to use in any situation. For ordinary uses, just use the system.in argument and pass it to the new scanner. Okay, now we start printing out some lines. So here is where we prompt the user to enter the name of their school for the snack bar. And so what this is going to do is it's going to take the input typed in by the user into the console down here, and it's going to shorten it because the user is going to type in a long school name with 5 or 6 words, and that might not fit so easily on the receipt. So we want to shorten the name of the school, and we're doing this down here. We're calling a function to shorten input school name. So after we get the input by calling our input, name of the scanner, .next line to read the input, we're then calling the get short name function on the school name, or on school name long. So we're creating a new string called school name, which is the short one, and that's going to be equal to the get short name, the function result of calling that on school name long. So get short name is just a function we've defined here ourselves. It's not a basic Java function. This is a custom function that we've written. It's down here. So we're going to go ahead and look at that now. This is our get short name function. It's a private static string, and this means it's always going to return a string. So the return type of this function here is a string only. You must declare that when it comes to Java, whenever you're creating a new function. And the static here means we can call it in this form as shown, where it's going to return a value. For example, a void function, if it was private static void, would not actually return anything. That would be for a function where you just want to maybe change a parameter or something like that, or make an edit to an object. Okay, so here in the body of the get short name function, you can see we're passing it the school name long, which is a string. And we're doing some stuff here. We're splitting the original school name long on the space. So we're using the java.split function to regular expression split on the space. So this is going to look for all spaces in the input school name long, and it's going to split the original string into multiple different strings on the space. So if the school name is like, for example, Harvey Waterwar High School, you can see we have spaces here. Space there, space here, fourth or third space there. So it's going to split this into individual strings. Harvey Waterwar High and School. That's going to be what it outputs. It's going to be 4 separate strings split based on the spaces in the original string. Okay, so we set an index to 0. This is going to be useful in a later while loop down here. Then we instantiate a new array list, and an array list in Java is a dynamic and immutable version of a traditional array, because in Java, your normal ordinary array cannot be modified. You cannot increase the size of it, you can't change the dimensions in any way. It's immutable. So we must use an array list here, which is more advanced, because we're going to have to append stuff to the array list. So anytime you need a contents of an array to change, you must use an array list. And this is only possible because we use the import up here. Import java util array list. Okay, going back down here. This is our new array list. It's a string array list, so it must contain only strings. That's the type there. We're calling it first letters, and we're using the usual instantiation syntax, new array list. Okay. Now we have our while loop, and this is the main part of this function. So, what this is saying is, as long as our value for index here is less than the length of words, which is our array up here, it's a string array, and remember, that contains all the separate words of school name long. So like Harvey, Waterwar, High, and School in the example there. So, as long as index is less than the length of that array, so how many elements are in that array, as long as that's true, we're going to go through this function. And it's going to do this. We're going to set individual word to words, and we're calling based on the index, what the particular value of index is at that time. Then we're going to set letter, a separate string, equal to the value of individual word, the character index of the individual word. So basically what we're doing here is we're getting the first character of each word in the full name of the school. And finally, we append the first letter of that word to our first letters array list. Okay. Then we increase the index and we start again, and this keeps going until the index, our value for index here, is no longer satisfying this inequality. So basically what we're doing here in this while loop is we're appending repeatedly to the first letters array list. And that's going to be the first letter of each word in our full school name. So we should get a shortened name. It's going to be, for example, HWHS for Harvey Waterwar High School. And that's what we're going to return here. We're going to return basically the contents of the first letters array list, but separated by here, this is a no space. So separated by nothing, really, but we're just taking out the commas that would be in the original array list. Okay, and we're returning that back out here. Okay, from there it's pretty simple. We just set up the prices as doubles for the drinks, the candies, the hot dogs, the hamburgers. We have our tax rate here. We apply the tax rate to the order number, and the order number is a randomly generated number between 100 and 1 here. We're using the math.random function. And then we print out some lines here, prompting the user to enter the number of drinks, candies, hot dogs, and hamburgers they wish to order. We're taking the input here as usual with the scanner class and assigning it to their variables. And finally, we calculate the total tax and the order total for the customer's order. But last but not least, we have the receipt design itself, which is this huge block of code here. We've got the school name we're printing out, and the snack bar here, the name of the school. And we've got the drink prices. So these are the default prices of the drink as they appear on the menu. And then we're printing out the order number, and finally the quantity, item, and total cost of each of the items that the customer ordered, and the subtotal, tax, and total down here. So that's pretty much it for this receipt program in Java, where we have a formatted receipt containing the user's input, number of candies and foods they want to order, and we assemble all of that into a complete receipt with a subtotal, tax, and total.